future. All right, let's switch gears and talk about the newest Green Bay Packer. I learned this earlier today from Easton Butler and Jacob Morley, as we have a new defensive tackle that has been signed to the Packers. And I'm hoping I'm saying the name right. You guys help me with the pronunciation in the chat if you don't mind, if I'm getting it wrong. Easton Butler tweeted out a couple hours ago, the Packers signed defensive tackle Jordan. It's either Jordan or just Jordan. It's spelled with an O at the end. I double-checked that, right? Jordan Riley off of the Giants practice squad per at Bill Huber NFL. So Bill Huber seemed to have broken the story here, at least according to Easton Butler. I love what Jacob Morley's mind immediately went to. What did he say? He said, hey, guys, before he joined the Packers in 2010, Howard Green's previous team was also New York. Just saying. Continuing to draw those parallels, right, between the 2010 season and 2025, when obviously in 2010 the Packers win the Super Bowl. Howard Green played a pivotal role. And some people may roll their eyes at that because, listen, you look at Jordan Riley here and you see kind of his measurables. His RAS was in the 2s. Cheeks RAS, right? PFF grades, I think they're in the 40s. He's been in the league for 2 years, former 7th-round pick. Cheeks, let's be honest, right? However, when we signed Howard Green, I didn't remember thinking, oh, yeah, we got Howard Green. Now, I was a young fan, don't get me wrong. I've been rooting for the Packers roughly 8 years at that point, right? I had become a Packer fan, wasn't much of an NFL fan before, or a specific team fan anyway. And when they signed Howard Green, I'm like, okay, who cares? What about it? However, Howard Green played a huge role in that Super Bowl run there in 2010. Maybe Jacob Morley's right here. Maybe this is this year's Howard Green, right? Let's dive into some of this. Again, we told you the PFF grades don't look good. The RAS doesn't look good. Let's take our first look at him because he does look like a pretty big boy here. I don't know if you guys got the measurables in the chat or not. If you do, throw them up for me in the chat. And this was the first look that we got from him. It was Bill Huber that tweeted this out. And obviously, this is this is Riley at practice, new defensive tackle. To me, he looks pretty solid. That's him against lining up with Stack right there with Stackhouse. So you see he's wearing number 97. To me, he looks a little more fit than some of the other guys. I'm trying to think of to me, he looks like more of a Warren Brinson build. Would you guys agree with that? Bates comes up with the measurables here, 6'5", 325. Man, that's a big old boy, right? So he's bigger than Brinson. I mean, you can kind of see that Stack right there, right? That's number 93 Stackhouse. You could tell he's got more muscle than Stack. Stack's a little thicker, but I think he's taller than Stack, right? So this is a big boy right here. Everybody confirming. Yeah, man. Well, actually, here we go. This Joe Pack Joe says last physical said 6'3", right? 6'3", 315. So that maybe is a little bit closer to Brinson. Everybody else is saying 6'5". So, oh, damn. Okay, never mind. Joe Pack Joe confirming it is 6'5", guys. So 6'5", 315 pounds. Whoo! So listen. We can sit here and dive into the PFF grades, right? We can look at that and go, okay, yeah, he sucks, PFF grade. We can look at the RAS and go, oh, his RAS is horrible, he sucks, right? What I would rather do is listen to a former NFL lineman, a former offensive lineman in the National Football League, break down his tape a little bit, okay? And that's exactly what Brian Baldinger's doing here, okay? So and what's cool was this was on August 19th of 2023. So we're going back a full year, right? And I guess so this would have been preseason, not this year's preseason. This would have been preseason his rookie year. Let's hear what Baldy had to say. He said he's an A-gap force. They need defensive tackles that could play, and it sure looks like Riley can play. He was talking about the Giants at the time. Here was our boy Brian Baldinger breaking down the tape a little bit, and you could kind of see this is what we call shade, right? If he was lined up right over the center, he would be a zero. It would be a zero, just a straight zero tick, right? He's on the inside shoulder. We would call that a little bit of shade, all right? So there's no zero eye, obviously. So if he was over just a little bit further, you'd say A gap, or you'd say a one technique. In this case, he's still in the A gap. So this is definitely a nose tackle top player. Let's hear what Baldy had to say about him.
This Jordan Riley is a guy who builds his house right in the A gap. Nobody can get him out of the A gap. Like you watch his feet right here in this double team. He doesn't give up any ground. He escapes the starting center, Bradley Bozeman, and makes a tackle. Like he's just a force. You watch this right here and just watch him anchor. Like that's what he does. Takes on double teams right here. All right. Doesn't make the tackle, right? But he makes the play. All right. Nowhere to go. And then on 4th and 1, when you got to make a play, he abuses the center. He abused the center. He escapes and he makes the tackle on 4th and 1. Like, you give the ball back to the Giants offense at midfield. Like, this is a great play.
That's a nice rep.
2 weeks in a row now, scrimmage again.
Everybody listening on the podcast, you just seen him kind of bench press the offensive lineman and then work back to the ball. As a rookie, that's impressive.
Against Detroit, defense line coach Andre Patterson loves him. They got a force, an A-gap force. Their 7th round pick out of Oregon, Jordan Riley.
So there you go, a big program too. Him playing for Oregon, obviously one of the better programs in the country. Now, there's a little bit to unpack there, right? What kind of role will he play? First of all, he wasn't signed to the practice squad. You guys correct me if I'm wrong there in the chat. He wasn't signed to the practice squad. He was signed off a practice squad, so he has to go to the active roster. What does that tell you? Tells me, okay, first of all, where's he going to get his snap count out? Probably 1 tech, all right? But we've already got Nazir Stackhouse, right? Is there a chance that Stackhouse goes to the practice squad? Or is this guy just going to take the roster spot for Devontae Wyatt because you don't want to lose Stack in case somebody tries to pick him up? My guess is they'll both stay on the active roster. But what it kind of tells you, in my opinion, the fact that you sign him to the 53, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, they probably see this guy as a potentially better than Stackhouse playing 1 tech. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not signing Riley to comp him or compare him to a Warren Brinson or maybe more so a Carl Brooks that played 1 tech last year. But is he going to be Kobe Wooden's backup? That's going to be the question, right? Now, here's the other thing. Who are you playing this week, right? You're playing the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are a running football team. So are you trying to beef up a little bit? Not that Riley's going to go in there and play 40 snaps, but you got an extra body there because Stackhouse is going to see an increase in reps as well, right? So that could be the case too. And as Adam Block said, I have concerns about Brooks at this point. I don't know what your concerns are, Adam, but as I read that, I immediately thought maybe they didn't like what they've seen from Carl and his injury because he has been out for a significant amount of time now. Maybe they see that like, oh, crap, we better get somebody else in here because Carl isn't where we want him to be, right? So that could be Adam's comment could be injury related or it can be rooted in maybe just lack of play there. But I've always liked the way Carl Brooks has played. PFF hasn't liked him since his rookie year. He seemed to grade out much better in Joe Barry's defense than Jeff Hafley's defense. And sometimes that happens, man. Carl may go somewhere else eventually and ball out, right? So, again, with the addition of Riley, I think what you're going to get is a run stopper, somebody who can anchor there, an extra body to potentially play that 1 tech because you'll typically go 1 in combination with a 3 or a 4 eye look on the opposite side. He'll definitely be that 1, that shade, maybe a 2 tech from now. Every now and again. So you kind of see it playing out that way as well. But again, just a quick little update on that signing. If it had went to the practice squad, we wouldn't have even had a segment, right? But the fact that they poached him off a practice squad, signed him to the active roster made me think they probably are a little higher on him than most people probably have looked into. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments. You're watching this video back later. Let me know what you think about Jordan Riley. How do you feel about his role with the Packers? Is this spelling something else for maybe a Carl Brooks or a Nas Stackhouse? Or do you think, hey, this is an extra big body in the middle, everything's going to stay the same? Carl Brooks, maybe once Carl Brooks is activated, they'll try to pass Riley back onto the practice squad. I don't know all the rules there. If there's a certain amount of time they got to stay on the 53 before you can put them on the practice squad, because obviously you have to sign them to the practice squad when you take them, or you got to sign them to the active roster when you take them from other practice squads. But let us know in the comments what you think about Jordan Riley, what role he's going to fit. And make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here for PTA in the future.